When Coffee, a ranger at Serengeti National Park, saw what was lying in the bushes near Mbili village, he first thought it was the carcass of a large animal. But then the thing moved, and the man realized he was looking at a living lion. What he saw next made him shudder with horror while simultaneously squeezing his heart with pain. The king of beasts was literally being eaten alive by parasites. In 15 years as a ranger, Coffee had seen much, from the birth of new life to the bloody aftermath of poaching. He had witnessed the agony of elephants with severed tusks, buried animal cubs killed by poachers' hands. But he had never seen such a horrific sight. The majestic predator, symbol of wild nature's strength, could barely stand on trembling legs. His once muscular body had become a skeleton wrapped in hanging skin, and his mane hung in dirty clumps. In the beast's yellow eyes there was neither fury nor aggression, only boundless exhaustion and unbearable pain. The lion showed no hostility. His paws buckled with each step. His body swayed from weakness. His breathing was heavy and labored. Coffee made a decision that contradicted safety protocols, but his heart suggested the right path. He always kept a supply of meat for bait in his vehicle. Slowly, never taking his eyes off the predator, the ranger pulled out a piece of beef and carefully placed it on the ground several yards from the animal. 15 years working in the preserve had taught him deep respect for wild animals, especially big cats. Weakness battled with survival instinct. The lion slowly approached the food and began eating hungrily, but without his usual power and grace. Each jaw movement consumed his last crumbs of life energy. While the beast ate, Coffee moved closer and examined his condition in detail. What he saw made his heart clench with pity and anger. The lion's entire body was covered with disgusting African giant ticks the size of thumbnails. These bloodthirsty parasites had latched onto the animal's skin, especially densely around the neck and belly areas. The ticks not only sucked blood, but also transmitted deadly theileriosis, a disease causing acute anemia and exhaustion in big cats. Many ticks, having gorged themselves on blood, had acquired a dark gray tint and doubled in size. Coffee noticed places where the skin had become inflamed around clusters of parasites, a clear sign of infection. But something else was more terrifying. In a deep, festering wound on the side, white worm-like creatures writhed, larvae of the wolfart fly, one of the savanna's most dangerous parasites. These insects lay eggs in open wounds, and the larvae feed on living flesh, deepening the damage. Some had reached about half an inch in length, their bodies disgustingly writhing in the bleeding wound. The lion was being devoured alive by parasites. Coffee understood. Without emergency help, this noble animal was doomed to an agonizing death. He immediately contacted the park's veterinary service, describing in detail the predator's critical condition. To the ranger's great relief, a mobile team was nearby and promised to arrive within an hour. Throughout the wait, Coffee remained beside the dying lion, who, having finished eating, heavily lay on the ground, having spent his last strength. The ranger poured water into a bowl and placed it near the animal's head. The lion made an enormous effort to lift his head and began drinking, slowly, with pauses, but this was a good sign. When the veterinary team arrived, specialists quickly sedated the lion with a tranquilizer dart. Dr. Fumi, the park's chief veterinarian, confirmed the animal's critical condition. During examination, she made a shocking discovery. Behind the lion's left shoulder was a deep bullet entry wound. Now the picture became clear. The lion had been wounded by poachers but miraculously escaped. The bullet wound became a site of parasite infection, which combined with blood loss and inability to defend territory led to his critical condition. For male lions, losing the ability to defend their rights often means exile by stronger rivals. The ultrasound device revealed a terrible truth. The deadly bullet was still lodged in the animal's muscle tissue. Complex surgical operation to remove the foreign object lasted an agonizing hour and a half. They extracted a large caliber bullet from a poacher's rifle. The staff unanimously named the rescued lion Imara, meaning strong in Swahili, and immediately transported him to a modern wildlife rehabilitation center. Coffee visited his four-legged friend practically daily after work shifts. Talented veterinarians successfully removed the cursed bullet, thoroughly cleaned all festering wounds of disgusting parasites, and began intensive treatment with powerful antibiotics. The first critical days were the hardest. Imara was so exhausted he practically didn't move in the spacious medical enclosure. On the third day, a miracle occurred. He ate meat independently. On the fifth day, he could already stand and take steps. After 2 weeks, blood tests showed improvement. Wounds were healing. An amazing bond arose between human and lion, based on trust. Imara recognized his savior's scent and voice, joyfully greeting him at the enclosure fence. Despite cautious prognoses, the lion grew stronger each day. After 3 months, Imara was unrecognizable. Again, muscular, with a lush mane and the commanding gaze of the king of beasts. 6 months later, veterinarians decided he was ready to return to the wild. For release, they chose an area deep in the park, 30 miles from where he was found, where a pride without a dominant male had been observed. When they opened the cage, Imara didn't rush to run. He slowly emerged, looked around, then looked directly at Coffee. In this gaze, the ranger saw gratitude and recognition of their friendship. Then the lion unhurriedly headed into the savanna toward a new life. A year later during patrol, Coffee noticed a lion pride in the shade of an acacia. Raising binoculars, he instantly recognized the familiar mane and scar. It was Imara, but now not alone. Nearby lay 2 lionesses, and around them played 2 grown cubs about 8 months old. Sensing the gaze, the lion raised his head and approached the jeep, stopping about 50 feet away. His look contained no aggression, only recognition of the human who had saved his life. One of the cubs ran to his father, playfully nipping his tail. Imara cast one last look at his old friend and returned to his family. This amazing rescue story became living proof for Coffee of a great truth. Even in the modern world, overflowing with tragic news about wildlife destruction, one caring person can truly change the course of events with sincere compassion and iron determination. And somewhere in the boundless expanses of the savanna, Imara now confidently guards his territory and patiently teaches curious cubs all the wisdom of complex lion life. One of the cubs inherited from his father's special courage and the commanding gaze of a true leader. The new generation grew free from the tragic scars of the past, and this was the greatest and most important victory.